Hi guys, welcome back to Math with OG. In this video, we'll be looking at simplification of algebraic expressions. That means how do you add, how do you subtract, how do you multiply, and how do you divide algebraic expression. So for an expo, I will just let you know that it is similar to adding, subtracting, dividing, and multiplying numbers. So it's the same thing, just that in this case you have algebraic unknowns added to it, such as x, y, z, as the case may be. Now, for your addition and subtraction, what you should take note is that you simply add like terms. For addition and subtraction, you simply add like terms. And the question is, how do you know when you have like terms? Like terms means they have exactly the same variable, same power. So same variable, same power. If you are given an expression like this, 4x plus 5y plus 2x squared, for example, this guy here is one term on its own. This guy here is another term. And lastly, this guy here is another term. So I'm not doing it properly because I don't want the lines to be attached to each other. So what am I doing wrongly here is that I'm not attached this positive sign to this. So if this positive sign should be inside there, so I'm supposed to have something like this, a positive 2x squared. This guy here is a positive 5y, and this guy here is a positive 4x. So one of the term is plus 4x, another term is plus 5y, and the last term is a positive 2x squared. Now, these guys have different unknowns in the sense that the unknown here is simply x, the unknown here is y, and the unknown here is x squared. Though you can say this is x and x, but you can see that the powers are different. So I said it must have exactly the same term with the same power. So because this variable, and this variable, they are different, because these variables are different, you cannot add up these guys. So if you see a question like this, 4x plus 5y plus 2x squared, the simplified answer will remain 4x plus 5y plus 2x squared. There's nothing you can do to simplify this further, except you want to factorize. So when we get to factorization, you see that you can factorize these two guys because there's something common to them. So you should know that this is a term, this is another term, and this is the third term. You can only add and subtract like terms. But for multiplication and division, whether they are like terms or not, you can easily multiply them. So what is x plus x? Like terms. X plus x, they are like terms. This should give us 2x. That is 1x plus 1x. What is 8x minus 4x? 8x minus 4x. So when you subtract 4 from 8, it should give you 4x. What is 8x minus 2y? These guys, they are not the same variable, so there's nothing you can do. This will remain 8x minus 2y. There's nothing you can do to simplify that except you want to factorize, but in this case, we are not factorizing. However, in multiplication, whether they are like terms or not, there's something you can actually do. So if you have x squared times y squared, this simply means x multiplied by y squared is y multiplied by y. So the answer here is simply xy squared. So you can multiply and you can divide even if the variables are different, but you cannot add and subtract when the variables are different. So I believe when we tackle all these questions on the board, it will start making more sense to you. Now let's start with the very first question on the board. 2t minus 7t plus 8h minus h. Now you agree with me that t and t, they are same variable, meaning that we can add them up. Now what is 2 minus 7? 2 minus 7 is minus 5, so I'll be having a minus 5t. Now what is 8h minus h? Positive 8h minus h. This is 8. The coefficient here is 1. 8 minus 1 is 7. So you'll be having a positive 7h. So this is the answer to the question. Minus 5t plus 7h. Or you can write it as 7h minus 5t. By now you should know that 2 minus 5 is not different from minus 5 plus 2. Minus 5 is a term on its own. Positive 2 is a term on its own. So you can easily rearrange them and you've not changed anything. minus 5t, look at it here, positive 7h is what you have here. So I can choose to put a positive sign here, and I have not changed anything. Now over to the next question. You have 12xy, 9xy, minus 4xy, and xy. So you can see that the variables here, they are the same. They are all xy, 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 xy. Now let's do the addition and subtraction within these variables. 12 plus 9, that should give us a 21. 21 minus 4 should give us a 17, and 17 plus 1 should give us 18. So your answer will be 18. Your variable remains the same, which is what? X, y. Now the next question, you can see that what you have here is x squared y. Okay, before we solve this, let me make mention of something. If you have something like this, AB, it is the same thing as BA. That means when you are calling variables or when you are multiplying variables, any of them can come first. But by convention or by default, we usually use the lower alphabet before the bigger alphabet. Lower alphabet meaning that A is the lowest alphabet and Z is the biggest alphabet. So most times we present it as AB, but AB is no different from BA. So if I have something like this, 8x squared y cubed, this is not different from 8y cubed x squared. It is exactly the same thing. So if you are given a question like this, 8x squared y cubed plus 4y cubed x squared, just check what I have here. Power of y here is cubed, the power of y here is cubed. The power of x here is 2, the power of x here is 2. That means the variables are the same. So can I add them up? Yes. 8 plus 4 is simply 12. So my answer should be 12. You can choose to bring x squared first before y cubed. So that will be your answer. So if that is the case, you agree with me that x squared y and yx squared, they are exactly the same thing. So this is also x squared y. This is also what? Yx squared. So all the variables there are the same. Now let's add up the coefficients. 15 minus 5, from what we have there, 15 minus 5 is equal to 10. Then you have 10 plus 1, that should give us 11. 11 minus 4 should give us 7. 11 minus 4 should give us 7. So my answer to this question, now I'm having problem with space, so I can just put the answer anywhere. So the answer to this question, this is 10, 11, 7. So my answer should be 7. So let's make x come first. So it will be 7x squared y. 7x squared y. So that's the answer to this question. Over to the next question. AB. AB. So these two guys, they are like terms. AB and BA, there's no difference. We've explained that already. BC, BC. This is CB, the same thing as BC. They are also like terms, so there's no difference. So when we collect like terms, when we collect like terms, we'll be having something like AB minus 4.2 BA. So I've collected AB and I've collected minus 4.2 BA. Then I have a positive 2.5 BC plus 2.5 BC. Then lastly, I have a positive 0.5 CB. Positive 0.5 CB. Now we've agreed that AB and BA, they are the same. BC and CB, they are the same. Now the coefficient of AB here is 1. The coefficient of BA here is minus 4.2. Now what is 1 minus 4.2? 1 minus 4.2 will give us a negative 3.2. That means if I'm asked to look for 2 minus 8, I can simply look for 8 minus 2 and introduce a negative sign. 8 minus 2 is 6, so this will give us a negative 6. So 1 minus 4.2, I can do 4.2 minus 1, and that will give me 3.2, and I will introduce a negative sign. So this is a negative 3.2. I'm taking A before B. Now you have 2.5 BC plus 0.5 CB. Now 2.5 plus 0.5, obviously that is 3. So this will give us a positive 3 BC. So that's the answer to this question. Minus 3.2 AB plus 3 BC. Someone else can write it as 3 BC minus 3.2 AB. You can see I took the positive 3 BC, negative 3.2 AB. Over to the next question. We have PQ squared. We have PQ squared. So they are the same. PQ squared, PQ squared. So let me mark them out so that you can see them. This is PQ squared. This is also PQ squared. Now we have Q squared arrow, Q squared arrow. This is Q squared arrow. This is Q squared arrow, and this is Q squared arrow. So we have to add up like terms and also add up the other like terms. Now 5 PQ squared minus 4 PQ squared. 5 PQ squared minus 4 PQ squared. By now you agree with me that PQ squared and Q squared P are the same thing. Then we have minus 7 Q squared arrow minus 4 Q squared arrow. Now 5 PQ squared minus 4 PQ squared is simply 5 minus 4. That will give us 1 PQ squared. So we can write 1 PQ squared, but it does not make any sense. So I'll just put a PQ squared, which means 1 PQ squared. Now minus 7Q squared arrow minus 4Q squared arrow. What is minus 2 minus 6? It's simply minus 8. You add them up and introduce your negative sign. So 2 plus 6 is 8, then introduce your negative sign. So the same thing there. Minus 7Q squared arrow minus 4Q squared arrow. Add 7 to 4. That will give you 11. Introduce your negative sign. So this is negative 11Q squared arrow. So that's the answer to that question. Over to the next question. We have DG squared F. DG squared F. So these two guys are the same. Now we have FEG squared. FEG squared. So those two guys, they are the same. So DGF squared, DGF squared. Sorry, DG squared F, DG squared F. Then you have minus, you have FEG squared and FEG squared. So they are also like terms. So let's add it up without writing it first. So we have 3.2 plus 2.5. That should give us 3.2 plus 2.5 to give us a 5.7. So this plus this is 5.7. So I will have a 5.7 DG squared F. EF. Okay, F comes before G, so let me bring the F first. So we have FG squared. 5.7 F DFG squared. Now we have FEG squared, EFG. So E should come first, EFG squared. This is minus 4.2 minus 1. Minus 4.2 minus 1. That should give us a minus 5.2. So we have a minus 5.2 EFG squared. So that should be the answer to that. We are not factorizing, so we'll leave our answer that way. Over to the next question. You have S squared Y. You have S squared Y. So these two guys, they are the same. S squared Y, S squared Y. You have YZ. You have YZ. YZ, YZ. Lastly, you have Z and you have a Z here. That's minus 4Z and plus 9Z. So you can see that though I'm having a Z here and a Z here, I can't add them up because these variables are different. This variable here is ZY, but this variable here is just Z. So this is YX squared, YS squared, YZ, YZ, ZZ. So now let's add up. 2S squared Y plus YS, sorry, 2S squared Y plus 1X squared Y. So that's 2 plus 1, and that will give us 3. So this will give us 3S squared Y. Firstly, then we have 5YZ minus 7YZ. 5 minus 7 is minus 2. So we have a negative 2YZ. A negative 2YZ. Then we have minus 4Z plus 9Z. Minus 4Z plus 9Z. Minus 4 plus 9 is the same thing as 9 minus 4, and that will give us 5. A positive 5Z. Positive 5Z. So that's the answer to the question. Pretty straightforward. Now the next one, we have PQ, 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 PQ. We have P, we have P, we have arrow, and we have arrow. So those are our like terms. Then we have constant minus 12 and minus 8. So let's start with PQ, PQ. 7PQ plus 2PQ. 7PQ, okay, I'll do it over there. 7PQ plus 2PQ will give us 9PQ. We have a 9PQ. Then next, you have minus P minus 4P. That's minus 1P minus 4P. That will give us a minus 5P, a negative 5P. Next, you have positive arrow, positive 1 arrow, minus 2 arrow. That is 1 minus 2. 1 minus 2 is obviously minus 1. So you have a negative arrow. A negative arrow. And lastly, you have minus 12 minus 8. Minus 12 minus 8 is minus 20. So you have a negative 20. So that's the answer to this question. So I think we've tackled enough questions for addition and subtraction. Now let's move on to multiplication and division. This one here, you have a times 3a. So I'll break it. This is simply a multiplied by a multiplied by 3a is simply 3 multiplied by a. We did that in our previous video where I told you that 8x is the same thing as 8 multiplied by x. Not just 8, but a positive 8 multiplied by x. You should know that this 3 here is a positive 3. Now what is a multiplied by a multiplied by a? That is a raised to the power of 3. So this will give us 3a raised to the power of 3. Next question, minus 4x multiplied by minus y. So this is minus 4 multiplied by x multiplied by minus y here. I want to break it to minus 1 multiplied by y. I have not changed anything. So this is multiplied by minus 1 multiplied by y. Minus 4 multiplied by minus 1 is a positive 4, because a negative number multiplying a negative number will give you a positive number. So I'll be having a positive 4 here. Now you have your x and you have your y. So a positive 4x, y. Now next question, 3x multiplied by minus 7y. So this is the same thing as 3 multiplied by x multiplied by minus 7 multiplied by y. Now positive 3 multiplying negative 7. That should give us a negative 21. So I have a negative 21 and I have my x and y. Next question, you have 5 multiplying q multiplying minus 7. Q squared is simply q times q. So let me put that. Multiplying q multiplying q. So this is minus 7q squared. Now, positive 5 multiplying minus 7 will give us a negative 35. So I have a negative 35. Then you have your q multiplying q is q raised to the power of 3. Q raised to the power of 3. Now back to the next question. You have 12a squared b multiplying minus 5ab squared divide minus 10ab squared. Now let's break it. Minus 12a squared b is minus 12. Don't know if that space will be enough, so let me solve it here. So this will give me minus 12, that's for this guy, multiplied by a, multiplied by a, multiplied by b. Multiplied by, this guy here is minus 5, multiplied by a, multiplied by b, multiplied by b. Division sign, so I can put this big division sign. All over, this guy here is minus 10, multiplied by a, multiplied by b, multiplied by b. Now let's start cancelling out. You agree with me that a will cancel a, b will cancel b, and b will also cancel b. Now your negative 5 multiplying, okay, let's do it this way. Negative 5 here is 1. Negative 5 into negative 10 is positive 2. That means negative 10 over negative 5. Remember, negative number times negative number is positive number. Similarly, negative number dividing negative number is a positive number. So negative 10 over negative 5 will give us a positive 2. So your negative 5 here 1, negative 10 here is 2. Sorry, your negative 5 into negative 10 is 2. So your positive 2 here 1, positive 2 into negative 12 will give us a negative 6. Negative number over positive number should give us a negative number. And I'm left with B. So this is simply A squared B. So the answer here is negative 6A squared B. So that's the answer to this question. Now over to the last question. Over to the last question. Okay. Let me try and squeeze it here. We are given a negative 3 multiplied by x all over a negative 1. So I want to separate negative 1 from y squared multiplied by y multiplied by y multiplied by. So if I change it to multiplication, I should invert the fraction. We've done that under fractions, division of fractions. So if I invert the fraction, negative xy should go to the numerator, and that is simply negative 1 multiplied by x multiplied by y all over this guy here. You have a negative 9 multiplied by x multiplied by x multiplied by x. Now let's start cancelling out. I have one of this x cancelling one of this x, one of this x cancelling one of this x, the last x cancelling this last x, one of this y cancelling one of this y. Now negative 3 will go into negative 9 3 times, because negative over negative is positive. So negative 3 here 1, negative 3 into negative 9 is positive 3. Negative 1 will cancel negative 1. So that is out of the picture. So at the numerator, what I have at the numerator is just 1. We have just 1 in the numerator all over. At the denominator, what I have here is y, and what I have here is 3. So this will give me 1 over 3y. So that's the answer to the question. That's how you play with questions under simplification of algebraic expressions. Now, if you found this video to be helpful, kindly use the like button, use the subscribe button, and also use the share button. If you feel that there's an error in any question, you can point that out in the comment section, or if you have any question you wish to ask, also put that in the comment section. Thanks for watching once more. See you guys in my next video.